The making of constitution has got a history of 2000 years. When I started my argument in Gokul case, you might have known about the Dalit engineering student who was brutally murdered by a caste Hindu in a place called Tiruchengodu in Namakkal district of Tamil Nadu. I took up the case as a special public prosecutor. And after completion of argument, that evidence on both sides, when I started my argument before the court, I started like this, The freedom struggle in India is not really a history against only the British imperialism. It's a history of a struggle against the so-called untouchability for 2000 years in this country and all. Suddenly the judge and the opposite lawyer stood up and told that, sir, this is not a political dice. Please continue your argument only with the legal aspects and all. The defense lawyer just questioned my argument that you should not speak on dice. It's not for audience. You have to confine your argument only with the legal evidence. He is, of course, a doyen of the bar, a senior lawyer, great defense lawyer in southern districts. Then I submitted him, sir. Sorry, sir, this is a case of a Dalit engineering student who was brutally murdered only for the purpose of chatting with a caste Hindu girl. No sin has committed. In other cases, the Hindu girl was loved by Dalit man and they got married. In so many cases of Kannaki Murugesan or Shankar Kausalya and all that. They lived together for 6 years, 6 months and all. Unable to bear with that, the caste-dominated people, the so-called pride of the caste, they conspired, engaged gundas and brought this Dalit boy and they were done to death and all. But this is not the case of Gokul Raj. Even he did not love, nobody knew that. According to me, when I read the entire papers and the case, I cannot come to a conclusion that this is not a love affair. Being a Dalit engineering student and a collegiate, went to the hill of the Advogate temple where he sat together and they were chatting together, that's all. Except the chatting with her, no sin has committed at all. But unable to bear with that, that Yuvaraj and his men came there and after having known about the caste, he was abducted from the place and he was tortured like anything. He was not only, his head was beheaded and all, his tongue was cut off. That's such a cruelty I have seen. Why I am now saying that? After crossing 75 years of independence, we have got our own constitution. It is a living document, as V.R. Krishna said that. It is not a mere longest one and this and that. It is a living document. It has given a powerful weapon to the people. It's a weapon to make the unequals as equals. But so far, we have not achieved that. Of course, we have got some success in the road. But even now, the Dalit people who are now only have come to the forefront to security, education, employment and public places and all, but they are facing all those things. From that point of view, you have to see that in 1925, Communist Party of India was inaugurated in Kanpur. The head of Singara Velu, he is from Tamil Nadu, a great philosopher, writer, thinker and all. He presided the conference. So also, RSS was inaugurated in Nagpur. In the same year, the self-respect movement was started by Periyar in Erode. These three movements are there and all. Nearly 100 years is going to now pass. What we have achieved? A Sanadana forces, a Parpadia gang, was constantly even 3% in the society, who declared that we should not fight against the British imperialism. We need not want any democracy or freedom at all. Now they have come to power after 70 years of and all. And now the governors appointed by the central government, they are all RSS people. They have come to the extent of saying that Marxist ideology only scrapped the Indian society, the tradition and all. The British colonial education only, the Macaulay and other things only demolished our Indian tradition. Like that, Ravi has gone to the extent of speaking all those things and all. So in this context only, now we are here, all our scholars, educated people and great scholars are here to speak about it. As far as I am concerned, now this is a time that we have to see that to save the constitution, we have to unite together. That is what Anand Tultampe in 2019 when he came to Tamil Nadu, he spoke in the same conference that, this is the time that you have to forget, shed all your differences and all, controversies, and come together to a point here. Unless and until you just unite together, definitely next year, next May, we cannot hold a meeting and all. He told, he went to his own native place. He was also arrested in the Bhima Corrigan, and only he got bail. So such is the situation and all here now. Recently, the Singapore Supreme Court judge has come to Delhi to inaugurate the first lecture, the first anniversary of the Supreme Court of 73 anniversary and all. Mr. Menon, I think he's from Kerala. This Surendra Menon. Only his parents were Keralites. He had gone to Singapore and now he became a Singapore. He addressed in that meeting, the conference seminar, wherein he said that the Supreme Court judge of Singapore said that unless and until the inequalities among the people are done away, there is no meaning at all to have a constitution. One of the points he said that in law. So also in our constitution, article 38 sub clause 2 that you know after 42nd amendment, to minimize the inequalities among the people by all their in the livelihood, in the socio-political and economic field, there is no meaning at all to have a constitution. In short, you know about the difference between the constitutionalism and constitutional morality. Constitutionalism, of course, it is confined only with the rule of law, to fight against authoritarianism and colonial tendencies, other things and all. Whereas the constitutional morality is the soul of the constitution. Though the basic structure has not been founded in the constitution at all, in the march of law, in the Kesavananda Bharati case, the basic structure constitutional doctrine was developed and all. The soul of the constitution is that to make the unequals as equals. Our fight is to make the unequals as equals. Unequals are the Dalits, tribals, women, you know very well. To make them unequals, the affirmative actions have to be taken by the government and all. Whereas now, to scuttle the progress of the Indian constitution, the rightist forces have come to power. They sat on the dice and they dictate the terms and all now. So this is the time that, of course, there are judgments in respect of LGBT or in respect of our privacy in case Puttaswamy versus Union of India, and so many cases, of course, we have got a good judgments. So also we know that very bad judgment like Sabarimala temple issue and other things are there. And all of us, we know very well, in the Bachchan Sikh and Machi Singh case, Justice Bhagwati has stated that we know that with the class background of the judges also. Suppose a judge with a historical background about the working class and our history, sufferings, this class struggle, of course we know that they can deliver good lecture, good judgments. But now we know, we're all happy that Chandrasut is there, K.M. Joseph is there. These people have known about India and Indian tradition, the class struggle, the sufferings of the people, the fundamental, even the entire thing and all. Even the recent judgment in the electoral reforms and all, a very good judgment Justice Joseph Bench has now given. But Justice Chandrasut was one of the member of the bench of the Sabarimala case. Still it is struggling hard that how this man is a part of that thing. It's very, but of course he is a man, when he has given a lecture in the Nalsar University or in Delhi University or among the students or the 75th year of Independence Day, in the presence of Modi, he has spoken about the marginalized people and all. They spoken about the rights of the underprivileged people, and our fight is to make them and all. That is what we said. When Muralidhar Rao, the Delhi High Court judge who has transferred to Punjab and Orissa, we can understand that he has got a very good knowledge about the Indian society and everything and all. But Chandrasut, who has studied in Western, has got a knowledge about Western culture, Indian thing and all. How could he be a member of the bench in the Babri Masjid temple demolition case? This is a wonder for me. So now, this context now, what we feel that Riju has openly told that we must be given a participation in selecting the judges in the collegium. Apart from that, he declared that the Kesavananda Bharati judgment has got to be reviewed. Challenged, he openly challenged. So Kesavananda Bharati judgment is a case where the basic structure doctrine has been evolved with the Supreme Court in the march of law, which means the Parliament has got a right to amend the Constitution under Article 368 and 13A, but it is settled the law that Parliament cannot touch the basic structure of the Constitution. That is preamble. That is what has been stated in the third part of the Constitution. But when Riju openly challenged that we have to review the Kesavananda judgment, it means that they have declared a war against Indian Constitution. That means they wanted to bring back Sanatana back in our Indian society. So, if we allow the rightist forces or the Sanatana forces in center, even after 2024, it's very difficult for us even to meet together and discuss and all. So, what we have to do now is that we have to unite all the forces against this present central government headed by BJP, because he never bothers about anybody. He is the first man among the world that the Prime Minister, being a Prime Minister, did not give any interview to any pressman. When media participated, he did not give any interview. But he is now speaking in the radio among the people and other things and all, that India is developing. India is the first country, we are growing. So, above QFLs, BJP is proved to be such a fascist forces in this country. Now, Tamil Nadu is the only place, Tamil Nadu, to some extent Kerala, or some extent even the countries, states where the Congress party is now ruling, there is a space for discussion and all. Otherwise, it is now shrinking to the point of totalitarianism and authoritarianism here. So this is a time that what we feel, we, the lawyers, social activists, intellectuals, and we have to unite with all the people, leftist forces, democratic forces. We must unite together and fight against all these things and all. So, according to me, what we see that only hope is that our Indian Constitution and Supreme Court. Supreme Court, of course, should not stretch its nose into the other parts like executive or parliament, but it has got a power of judicial review. The judicial review, they can challenge and they can declare any act as ultra vires if it is against the fundamental part 3 of the Constitution or the doctrine of basic structure. In Tamil Nadu, it is the only place where we can, because the government itself is to some extent is now standing with our principles and all. To achieve the goal of secularism and socialism or a democratic socialist society, we must have a government, otherwise definitely India will shatter into pieces and all. In this context only, this meeting, of course, with a number of people, but having roots about the society and all. I belong to the Communist Party, and our Professor Karunarantham is a social activist who is very active in the field to propagate and fight against this Sanatana Dharma. And our activists are here, Vela and others still are here, and all students and lawyers are there. Unless we get united with the left and democratic forces together, forgetting all of differences, it's very, very difficult for us to go there. So in this context, the challenges, the global challenges before the judiciary is there. And especially in India, We have read many articles. Of course, technology is one by which we can utilize this means to propagate our policies and all. Of course, it is controlled by the multinational corporations and all here. But at the same time, if we also take that Bimba all intellectuals have been put into bars because of the fact that these intellectuals are allowed to be in the open society. They have got a power to change the mindset of the people. So, we have to create a space to go to the masses and make them to come together and fight against the present Modi government and all. இந்த நிலையில் ஒரு வழக்கறிஞராக ஒரு பொதுவுடைமை இயக்கத்தை சார்ந்தவராக அரசியல் சாசனத்துடைய விழுமியங்கள் தார்மீக நெறிகள் என்ற முறையில் இந்த அரசியல் சாசனத்துடைய விழுமியங்கள் அடிப்படை கூறுகளை இந்த மனித சமூகத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய அடித்தட்டு மக்கள், உழைக்கிற மக்கள், தலித்துகள், அடக்கப்பட்ட ஒடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிற மக்கள் இவர்களுக்காக முறையில் இந்த அரசியல் சாசனத்தை பயன்படுத்தி அரசாங்கத்தையும் அதே ஒரு நடைமுறையும் இன்றைக்கு ஏற்படுத்துவதற்கு ஒரு பரந்துபட்டிருக்கிற அணி உருவாக்குவதை கடமை நாம் இருக்கின்றோம். அந்த அடிப்படையிலே தான் நமக்குள் பல கருத்துப்பாடுகள் உண்டு. ஆனாலும் கூட அம்பேத்கரும் பெரியாரும் மார்க்சும் காட்டியிருக்கிற வழியில் ஒரு அரசியல் சாசனத்தினை ஒரு பாராளுமன்ற ஜனநாயகத்துக்குள்ளே வன்முறைகள் அற்றிருக்கிற ஒரு நாடாக இந்தியா இருக்கும் என்று சொன்னால் என்னென்று கேட்டால் அம்பேத்கரும் பெரியாரும் எந்த காலத்தில் வன்முறை ஏற்றுக்கொள்வதில்லை. வன்முறை திணிக்கப்படுகிற போது அதை எதிர்ப்பது என்பது நமது அடிப்படை உரிமை, சட்டத்தில் கொடுக்கப்பட்டிருக்கிற உரிமை. ஆனாலும் கூட இந்தியா போன்றிருக்கிற பன்முகத்தன்மை கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு நாட்டில் இவர்களுக்கு மத்தியில் இந்த பன்முகத்தன்மையை தக்க வைத்துக் கொண்டே இந்தியா ஒரு தேசமாக இருக்கும் என்று சொன்னால் நிச்சயமாக இந்த சமூகத்தில் இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த அரசியல் சாசனத்திய விழுமியங்களை எல்லாம் ஒன்றுபடுத்தி அரசியல் சாசனத்துடைய வழிகாட்டலோடு அது உருவாக்கி இருக்கக்கூடிய அரசியல் தார்மீகம், கான்ஸ்டியூஷனல் மொராலிட்டி என்று இருக்கிறதே, அதை நாம் செலவு வேண்டும். கோலக்நாத் வழக்கில் பல்கிவாலா பேசுகிற போது அதேபோல் மன்னர் மானியத்தை ஒழித்து விட்டு அதற்கு எதிராக நீதிமன்றத்தில் பேசுகிற போது பல்கிவாலா ஒரு கருத்தை சொல்கிறார். அப்போது இந்த கான்ஸ்டியூஷனல் மொராலிட்டி என்ற வார்த்தையை அவர் பயன்படுத்துகிறார். அன்றைக்கு இந்தியாவை ஒன்றுபடுத்துவதற்காக அவர்களுக்கெல்லாம் ஒரு குறிப்பிட்ட தொகையை தருவதாக ஒத்துக்கொண்டு அவர்களுக்கென்று சில உரிமைகளை கொடுத்து விட்டு அவைகளை மறுப்பது என்பது அது கான்ஸ்டியூஷனல் மொராலிட்டி அல்ல என்ற வார்த்தையை பயன்படுத்துகிறார் பல்கிவாலா. இன்றைக்கு நாம் இந்த தேசத்தினுடைய அடிப்படையில் 2000 ஆண்டு காலமாய் ஊரென்றும் சேரி என்றும் பிரித்திருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு சமூக கட்டமைப்பை உடைத்து தீண்டாமை ஒழிக்கப்பட்டு விட்டது. சட்டத்தின் முன் அனைவரும் சமம், அதேபோல் சம வாய்ப்பு. இங்கே நோ டிஸ்கிரிமினேஷன் ஆன் தி பேஸ் ஆஃப் காஸ்ட், கிரீட், செக்ஸ், ரிலிஜன் அண்ட் பிளேஸ் ஆஃப் பர்த் சொல்லக்கூடிய வார்த்தைகளை கொண்டு இருக்கக்கூடியவர்களுக்கெல்லாம் அர்த்தத்தை கொடுக்கிற போது இந்த அரசியல் விழுமியங்களை, இந்த கான்ஸ்டியூஷனல் மொராலிட்டி சொல்லக்கூடிய இந்த விழுமியங்கள் எல்லாம் இன்றைக்கு தகர்க்கக்கூடிய வகையில் ஒரு அரசியல் இருக்குமானால், அதுவும் பெரும்பான்மை பெற்றிருக்கக்கூடியதாக இருக்கும் என்று சொன்னால் அது இன்றைக்கு இந்த தேசத்தை ஒரு ஃபேசிஸ்டுக்கு கொடுக்கக்கூடிய வாய்ப்பாக இருக்கிறது. ஆகவே இந்த ஃபேசிஸ்ட் தன்மை கொண்டிருக்கக்கூடிய ஆட்சிக்கு எதிராக ஒன்றுபட்டிருக்கிற ஒரு பறந்துபட்டிருக்கிற உழைப்பாளர்கள், தொழிலாளர்கள், தலித்துகள், ஆதிவாசிகள், பெண்கள் மற்றும் இருக்கக்கூடிய அனைவரையும் உள்ளடக்கி இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு பரந்துபட்ட ஜனநாயகத்தை கட்டி எதிர்ப்பது ஒன்றுதான் வழி என்று சொல்லிக்கொண்டு அமைகிறேன். வணக்கம்.
உன் கடவுளை விட, உன் சாஸ்திரத்தை விட, உன் முன்னோரை விட, உன் வெங்காயம் விளக்கமாத்தை விட உன் அறிவு பெருசு, அதை சிந்தி.